Okay, YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're still on the whole Hasan drama. I wanted to check out this video made by Rivse Desu. We still talking about the whole Hasan drama. The video is titled Asmongold and the Trash Taste Backlash has broken Hasan Piker. Jeez Louise, Hasan has finally been broken. But hey man, he had it coming. Yeah, it's just that he's kind of a curse of controversy. The moment you talk about controversial things, people also gonna view in a controversial way, unfortunately. Let's see what's happening in this video. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe and tell me what you guys think. Of course, let's just jump in.
Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be talking briefly about Hasan Piker. Now I think everyone watching this video is aware of his long history of unhinged takes. Yep. However, I believe some of this rhetoric has definitely increased over the past week or two because his most valuable currency, his ego, has been threatened by two events. And they're both relevant to the type of topics we talk about on this channel, hence why we're making this video today. Those two events are the Trash Taste podcast situation, as well, in his own words, his dethroning as the top political streamer on Twitch by Asmongold. Now, when I say increasing...
I think, the whole Trash Taste incident, I don't know if you guys know, Hasan Piker appeared on Trash Taste podcast, the biggest podcast in anime, even though they don't talk much about anime, but yeah, it's the biggest anime podcast. It got negative attention. People kind of viewed it as a negative way because not a lot of people like Hasan Piker. And yeah, it was tough. It was tough. They were grilling the whole Trash Taste crew, the whole content directors, Gigak, and his friends were under fire. But yeah, now Asmongold, the second topic of him, Asmongold dethroning Hasan, makes sense because Hasan was kind of a bit, he's an extremist, you know, his views are of English. So his views are of an extremist taste, you know, so he's kind of, the moment you speak about controversial things or say controversial things, you will also be viewed as a controversial person. People are going to start viewing you in a controversial way. So you got to always be careful of what topics you speak about. And I think Hasan was more speaking on the more extreme topics. That's why Hasan is a very controversial person. I get him. But Asmongold has been doing his thing and he's crazy. That's why I think he easily became the biggest political streamer on YouTube. And Hasan is kind of low-key, how can I put this? Lacks self-awareness. That's the biggest thing. He lacks self-awareness.
The unhinged takes. I'm more saying the frequency at which he makes these unhinged statements. In fact, during the whole Trash Taste podcast situation from about a week ago, his immediate response was talking about things, including his idea of having a terrorist propaganda tier list live on Twitch, which obviously...
Those are the things which Hasan likes doing. I don't know why he's very extreme with his viewpoints. Maybe in his head, he's thinking, oh, I'm doing the right thing. Meanwhile, you know, he's kind of skating on thin ice, you know?
If he did that, he would face no punishment. In fact, you'd probably get a special cameo, another birthday song from Dan Clancy himself. So what am I talking about? Well, this is the clip making the rounds right now on social media. Let's give this a quick listen.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him a prominent part of the Republican Party.
There's about...
Yep. That's Hasan.
Okay, now this is where I have to be honest. I am not American, so any person that he mentions from this country, I have no idea. And like the whole political views and all of that, I am South African, so I have a different political view and stake in this conversation.
Directing people to kill a sitting U.S. senator. Normally that would get you a knock on your door from the FBI at the very least, but I think everyone looking at this objectively would say if you were a regular streamer, you would not only be...
Shut up. Yeah, you gotta shut up. Him inciting violence is crazy. Why would he now start inciting violence? You know, I don't know why he's inciting violence. It's crazy to me, honestly.
Banned for saying this you'd probably be permabanned. You would never come back to this platform. And
but it's
also,
Hasan. Hasan can say anything. He's their sweetheart. You know, Twitch has Twitch and YouTube, bro. Other people, if they say do something or say anything wrong, they're out. But these guys, there's the sweethearts, the people that have industry favors. These people, they never go away.
So what makes this even more hilarious is the fact that not even a year ago, he made a similar threat to another U.S. official with this quote tweet here sharing this image, which for context was the weapon that was crafted to
What the hell is this?
assassinate the former Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. So he has a history of doing this. And like I said, right now, I want to look at the two events that I think are kind of making him spiral because his ego is being challenged in ways that don't sit well with him. The first one, as I said...
Okay, I do not agree with Hasan at all for both situations. For call of violence to an American government official and another one to a Japanese official. That is just insane. And if anybody else does it, they get cut. But Hasan, he's the sweetheart, you know?
Is the Trash Taste podcast situation. For those who didn't watch my video a few days ago about this, he went on as a special guest to this Trash Taste podcast, which is run by the Anime Man, CDawg VA, as well as Giguk, three prominent channels in the anime content creation space.
I watch everybody. I watch the Anime Man and also I watch Giguk. CDawg VA, Connor, I watch him sometimes. It's just, I watch the clips. So yeah, the Trash Taste podcast, I watch also clips, or if there's a special guest. I don't watch this podcast like every now and then.
And as you can see, people reacted very, very negatively to this. And as I said, I respect the boys who run this podcast. I think generally they have good intentions with things, but I think they grossly miscalculated how people would respond to his appearance as a special guest.
Yeah, they didn't expect this. They kind of, again, self-awareness. They kind of needed to be self-aware that, oh, snap, Hasan is like this. He's a very controversial person. And so, you know, being around somebody that's very controversial, it also weighs on you. You also start becoming a little bit controversial. This is a mistake, but a mistake that they must learn from, that, yo, do not piss off your fans.
On the podcast, they even said they expected like a few negative comments. I definitely don't think they expected 99% of the comments to be negative in regards to the choice of special guest. And when we covered this about 6 days ago, the like-dislike ratio was pretty much 50-50. It was like 15,000 dislikes, 14,000, or 15,000 likes, 14,000 dislikes. And now it's up to 70,000 dislikes, and it only grew to 22,000 likes.
Damn. Yeah. Terrible. It's a terrible time to kind of bring Hasan as that content creator on your platform. It'll be bad for you, honestly. He's now kind of low-key. He's now, as we call it, shadow banned. You know, you can't associate yourself with this guy. Otherwise, you will get struck by lightning, honestly. That's how toxic this dude is.
Now, I don't think this is fully a criticism of Trash Taste. I think this is more of a repudiation of Hasan Piker. As I pointed out in the previous video, he's been on the podcast before, but that was about 2 years ago, and I don't think a lot of people were as informed about some of his unhinged beliefs. And now that people are more familiar thanks to a lot of videos calling him out, this is what people think of Hasan in anything he is a part of. And they are making it very well known in the dislike ratio there. And also, overall, that also was the result.
That kind of makes everybody that does a podcast or something, where if you have to include somebody like Hasan, you kind of have to be wary. You know, it makes everybody fear even doing anything in collaboration with Hasan. Because I think he's gotten to that point where now people are sick of him, you know? And yeah, it's showing. Not a podcast like Trash Taste doesn't trend for anything. But for them trending for this, yeah, it's kind of really scary, honestly.
After he begged his own community to counter what he claimed was a brigade on him and the podcast episode, and that only made things worse, by the way. But clearly his ego was very hurt by this. I think he went outside his own community and saw how badly he was received, and I think it made him very upset. hence why he asked his own audience to.
And that's the reality. That's the reality of how people view Hasan. You know, I think him in the comfort of his home, in the comfort of his Twitch chat and all of that, he must be in paradise. But you know, once those 40,000 viewers and you're on somebody else's platform, yeah, you're gonna get cooked, buddy. Yeah, that's how it is, bro. With anybody.
Go and try to remedy the situation. And we get it, right? Like everyone who's on the internet and has some level of controversy attached to them, which I would say applies to pretty much everyone we're talking about today at some level. You're going to deal with people who are going to make viral tweets hating on you and things like that. You're not going to be well liked by everyone outside your community, but I think it's a little different.
I think that's the price of fame. What Rev is saying, that no matter how big you are, you're gonna always be hated. Like if you're superstar big, especially like Hasan, 40,000 viewers per day, per stream, like live concurrent count, you're gonna get millions and millions of haters, bro. Like any streamer that's on his caliber is gonna have massive hate. But it's just that as well, the things that he says is what also garners the hate. He's very controversial, you know.
When your mere presence on anything will draw a ton of negativity, and that's what's going on with Hasan Piker. And I think it's pretty obvious he's seeing this first and foremost and very clearly with the Trash Taste podcast, and it's just not going over well with him. Now that's the first event I'm talking about here. I want to get to the second event, and that's of course the Rat King himself, Asmongold. In Hasan's own words, he has now overtaken the top spot as political streamer on Twitch. This is a label that
that time Asmongold is not his political views are a bit, you know, they're up there, hella right wing. He's from Texas, shout out to him. So for me, if I say left or right wing, guys, I'm from South Africa, there's no left or right. But yeah, he's a cool guy. I like his content. He does the most. His political views are, you know, shaky, but hey, you know, I ain't hating.
Doesn't even care for, and he still considers Hasan the top political streamer because it's not the only thing that Asmongold does.
He does
it's
gaming.
Still a good portion. It's not the only thing
Asmon is mostly a gamer at heart.
He does. But yeah, to Hasan, this stuff matters. The numbers matter. The labels matter because it's, you know, attached to his ego. I think that's very obvious. And this clip right here is really telling of that. He's going after Asmongold and basically blaming him for a rise of right-wing sentiment permeating throughout the streaming world and honestly throughout the world is really what
he's Trump, honestly. The right wing, that what he said is Trump. But as well, it's a long time coming, Hasan. People are tired of you. Once people get tired of somebody like him, yeah, they're tired of you. Despite, I'm a middleist. If I was in America, I would be a middleist. I know both sides would hate me. But dude, honestly, I hate speaking about politics. Sorry.
Is implying in many cases, and he again brings up the numbers and seems very insecure about it. Let's give this a quick listen.
If there wasn't such a high density of hogs that were like literally looking desperately for some kind of hog content on Twitch, which led to a massive amount of people gravitating towards Asmongold and Asmongold getting like fucking 50K every day doing right-wing commentary, none of these motherfuckers would do this, okay? They just wouldn't.
Okay, so first of all, calling Asmongold right-wing is hilarious. I think most people would view him as a centrist. Yeah, he's a guy who is on many different occasions, including recently, said he wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders. So if he's some right-wing pundit, he's not a very good one, let's be honest. But
yeah, he's a terrible one.
This is the deal here. So
I guess the whole terminology left or right is kind of watered down. So it's kind of like a easy slap on the face. It's like saying F you to somebody or he's an asshole. You know, it's kind of like watered down to this point, you know, because we've heard it a million times. You know, imagine you call somebody an asshole nowadays, you know, nothing will really happen to you. So that's how I feel like it is now in terminology of right wing or left wing. You know?
First, implying that people are only speaking out on certain things and criticizing certain things and sharing certain opinions because Asmongold basically made it okay and they want to grift, right? They see the numbers he pulls and they want to emulate those numbers. It's only about numbers and popularity with whatever they're sharing, and now they're being emboldened by Asmongold. And I think that's, number one, pretty insidious. It's basically implying that there are a lot of people out there who have these beliefs but were afraid to say them because, well, let's face it, the last half a decade or so, cancel
Now you'll get canceled. You can't say what you think. You need to always think 3 times before you say anything. You need to think the first time, will I lose my career? Second time, let me phone my lawyer. Legit. Then you can start speaking, because holy smokes. Some of these people speak honestly trash, garbage. Content creators, musicians, and politicians, and a lot of podcasts speak rubbish, sometimes, even Hasan and Asmongold. We saw Asmongold get into the most dumbest controversy because sometimes, the way you think, you can't say it because it's very dangerous. It could lose you a lot of money. So all your political views, you kind of need to have a filter. Otherwise, if you say how you feel, you might get canceled. Even me, I hate speaking about politics because I know the moment I speak about politics, I have my own view on something, and I don't want to be I don't want to die on a hill of a political view. I want to do my thing, just watch anime and chill. Like, the fuck.
Culture has been a real thing. If you had wrong think or you criticize the wrong thing, your life could literally be over. And now that sort of phase is dying out, and people are finally speaking up. And speaking up for what turns out to be the majority opinion in many regards.
I guess.
I think the reason Asmongold is so popular, especially right now, is because his opinion on things is not right-wing or left-wing or anything like that. It's
70% of the times he's right. And he will put his career on the line just to be right. Not a lot of us will do that. I am not trying to be right for anything, bro. I'm trying to make the most amount of content and having the most amount of fun. Some content creators like Asmongold, he wants to push the boundaries. I may not agree with him with a lot of things, and that is okay. You shouldn't agree with most of your content creators, the people that you watch that influence you. But at the same time, he's on to something. That's why I watch his content, instead of Hasan,
It's just common sense. It's the type of opinion that the average person would at least have a somewhat positive view of. They may not agree with everything he's saying, but they might at least find what he's saying to be reasonable and not something extreme like sympathizing with terrorists or something like that. If you ask 90% of the people what they thought about his average take, I think they wouldn't have much of a problem with it. And he has proven that through his views, I mean, every video getting around 1 million+ views on pretty much every political topic, he's proven that a lot of these opinions are popular. And I think that has emboldened people not to grift off of that, but to think, oh, I can actually share my opinions on things, and this is actually popular right now, and I'm not going to get a brigade of people trying to cancel me and ruin my life for criticism.
And that's true, man. I don't like cancel culture because cancel culture, it was so toxic. Just because somebody said something, he didn't do anything, he just said something, he has a weird political view, they lose everything. And I hated that because that same system of cancel culture can easily, the people that created it could easily get turned against them. So if it gets turned against them, nobody's safe. So that's how they're going to slander anybody. It's like literally it leaves everybody vulnerable and not a chance for people to learn. Because people are just saying things. It's not like they're doing something that's very illegal or anything. They're just saying how they feel. And sometimes we need to teach, or we don't even have a conversation about certain topics. I feel like that's the whole part that kind of holds us back, So yeah, it's just crazy, man.
Criticizing what they might consider the wrong thing. Okay, and no content creator is ever perfect, okay? But again, in this sort of conversation between Asmongold and Hasan, who's going to relate more to the common person with their views? Like, I think we're talking about some pretty common viewpoints versus extreme ones. And I think it's pretty obvious which one of those labels applies to each person in this scenario. And like it or not in this particular situation, but the general population voted for this sort of stuff. And, again, we're talking about the labels here.
And you see how they vote? They vote with their views, not with any freaking award show or anything. They vote with their views. People get tired of watching Hasan and his his takes, honestly.
But let's hear a little more, because he's very upset about losing this top spot.
Oh, well.
That's it. For a lot of people, it's not like a genuinely held perspective. For many of them, they just don't care. It comes from a place of like, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't really necessarily give a shit about politics, but I see that this is like getting clout. And the perfect example I can give you is when the most prominent voice of politics on the platform before this last round was myself.
He's mentioned it twice in 30 seconds. Have you seen that? Any clip you find of Hasan right now is mentioning that he has fallen behind Asmongold in this race for the top position of political streamer on Twitch, which is a lone race because Asmongold doesn't even care for the label. But again, with this whole general population label he's giving, the general population is not agreeing with you right now on all of these things. I think a lot more people are agreeing with the takes that Asmongold has because, again, they represent what most normal people think. They're not as extreme as a bunch of wackadoos on Twitter or Reddit will try to make you feel like they are. But proof of that really shows.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's very true. Dude, I don't know, man. I feel like Hasan should just continue with his life. Who cares if you're number one top streamer? Dude, he gets 40,000 views concurrent live streamers. That's insane. He's probably scratching between 500,000 to 1 million views on his stream per day. That, bro, come on.
It's just in the coverage of the Trash Taste podcast situation. Look at the way people agree with this. The like-dislike ratio, 54,000 likes versus around 700 dislikes. That's roughly a 98% like-dislike ratio on a very controversial topic, directly talking about this relevant situation involving Hasan. I think, again, it shows he has a pretty agreeable opinion even on some more controversial topics. And let's not forget, the clip in particular that fueled this entire conversation was this right here. This was a Worcester, Massachusetts City Council vote.
So I'm not going to say much about the city council, but how do you guys feel about this Massachusetts situation? You know, America's nice, guys. I should just move to America, bro. Like, honestly, like we are suffering here through a lot of things. Like, our government sucks, and America, y'all are having a good time, honestly.
Where a group of LGBT people wanted to make the city a sanctuary for transgender and gender diverse people. And this is what we were talking about. And then Hasan was upset about some comments that Amaranth of all people made about this. And first of all, if you're listening to anything Amaranth has to say about pretty much anything, you've already kind of lost. But anyways, they're basically trying to say, Hasan's trying to say that Asmongold and people like that have radicalized people to say all these crazy, unhinged things, referring to their criticisms of this clip. Now, of course, most people find this to be crazy. Let's watch what we're talking about here.
If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here.
Up,
I'm sorry, am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum. And I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here. It's my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter.
Okay, I'm gonna skip this. I watched the whole video. Yeah, it's a bit rough, you know. Yeah. No comment.
And that's an example of made her.
So that you will hear and see me.
You guys literally made her put that glitter on her face. But anyways, this is an example of the type of clip you show 90% of people in the world and they'll be like, yeah, that's weird. This looks like a blue sky meetup. Okay, these people are unhinged, and these are the type of people calling you a bigot and a freak on social media, right? But that's what we're talking about here. And this is Asmongold's coverage of that clip that is being referenced in this entire situation. And you can see how people viewed his opinion that is basically stating this is a clown show, right? And I think people agree. 81,000 likes, 500 dislikes. That's a 99 plus
I guess people
like dislike
agree
ratio
with
on
Asmongold.
2.5 million views, by the way. So this left the ether of the monolith of Asmongold's followers. Clearly, a lot of people agree that this is outlandish behavior.
Because if they didn't, they wouldn't watch.
And I don't think this is some right-wing extremism. I don't think Asmongold is influencing anyone. I think he's speaking a commonly held belief about stuff like this. Okay, this is a clown show. You show this to a regular person, they probably agree. And that's really all there is to say about this, because we also see how deep this goes. He is directly blaming Asmongold for causing all this radicalization. The irony, by the way.
Why they're saying
This is, in many ways, no different than when Elon Musk hits the fucking Sig Heil, other people do it too, and it normalizes that kind of attitude. It normalizes that kind of politics. And it's precisely the same thing that's happening here, okay? Asmongold says a bunch of unhinged shit, and he's popping off. Other content creators see that, as I've told you before, and they respond to it. They see that, and they go, ooh, I can get in on this.
Nah, but what's his name should shut up, bro. Like, Hasan has said some terrible things. No, Hasan has said some really crazy stuff. Well, in his mind, it might be right, but when he says it, it's kind of a bit extreme. It's very controversial, some of the things that he says, you know? And I don't agree with anything that he says, you know, because it's just too controversial and too extreme. You know, I feel like it's a lack of self-awareness, some of the statements that he says. Even now, it's a lack of self-awareness, understanding that, okay, wait, I'm Hasan Piker. I speak about these type of situations, but yet I'm going to look at other people and blame other people. And, you know, yeah, lack of self-awareness, complete lack of it, you know,
as well.
So what he's saying is content creators like Asmongold are normalizing unhinged behavior and normalizing very dangerous things people are saying. Let me just remind us of where we started this video.
About $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott.
That's how we started the video. Okay, we're not even getting into the terrorist sympathizing and the platforming of terrorists and the comments about 9/11 and all these crazy unhinged things that literally go on a list that's so long it's hard to keep track of what's going on.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop the video right there. Jesus, jeez Louise. Hasan Piker lost his spot as #1 political streamer. And Asmongold got it. You know, yeah, Asmongold, well deserved. Hasan Piker, hey man, it's you said it, not me. Anyways, guys, you guys tell me what you guys feel. Man, controversial. Yes, if you don't agree with me, it's okay. If you agree with me, like and subscribe. Let's just jump into the next one. Let's go. See you guys next video. Peace out.